Welcome, dear friends. Blessed Advent to you. Today's podcast draws inspiration from the second meditation of divine intimacy by Father Gabriel of St. Mary Magdalene, titled Invitation to Sanctity. This is the second and final episode of a two-part series exploring the themes of this beautiful meditation. For more Carmelite resources, visit the General Curia of the Teresian Carmel at discalcedcarmelite.com. Now let us begin our journey into Father Gabriel's profound spiritual insights.
As we continue reflecting on this invitation to sanctity, one of the key themes that really emerges is this beautiful concept of intimacy with God.
Yeah.
And Friar Gabriel, drawing on that rich Carmelite tradition, really emphasizes that God isn't this distant being who simply wants us to follow a set of rules.
Right.
He desires a genuine relationship.
With each of us.
Yes, with each and every one of us.
It's like, he doesn't just want to be admired from afar, He wants to be known.
He wants to be loved.
And loved, yeah, in a deeply personal way.
Absolutely. And this is where holiness comes into play.
Okay.
It's not just about avoiding sin. It's about allowing God's grace to transform us, to make us more and more like Christ.
Okay. So it's not just external rules, it's an internal transformation.
Precisely. It's about aligning our hearts and minds with His so that we can truly experience that profound intimacy He desires.
So that's how we kind of draw closer to God, through that holiness, through that transformation.
Exactly. It's this journey toward holiness that deepens our intimacy with God.
Okay, that makes sense. But, when we talk about intimacy, it's a two-way street.
It is.
It's not just about passively receiving God's love.
Right.
It's about responding to it.
Absolutely. And that's where that colloquy from Friar Gabriel's meditation becomes so powerful. Remember that line from St. Teresa of Avila?
Oh, yeah. How is it possible, Lord, that all this should be forgotten?
It's an expression of deep sorrow for having fallen short of God's love, for not fully reciprocating His gift.
It's like, it almost feels like a lover who's realizing they've hurt, the one they cherish most.
It does.
And you're like, oh, I need to make this right.
That's a beautiful analogy, and it highlights a crucial aspect of this journey toward holiness.
Okay.
It's not about achieving perfection overnight.
Right.
It's about acknowledging our imperfections, our failures, and continually turning back to God with a humble and contrite heart.
It's that getting back up every time we fall.
Exactly. And that's where the hope of Advent comes in.
Okay.
It's a reminder that God's mercy is always available to us.
Yeah.
No matter how far we've strayed, He's always waiting to welcome us back with open arms.
Always there.
He is, always.
Okay, so we're called to holiness. It deepens our intimacy with God. It's this ongoing process of, conversion and transformation. Yeah. But how does all of this relate to our mission in the world, to the apostolate?
That's a great question. And I think it goes back to the idea of becoming more like Christ.
Okay.
As we grow in holiness, we naturally become more radiant with His love.
Oh, okay.
We become more compelling witnesses to His truth.
So it's not necessarily like, going out there and preaching, but it's more about letting our lives speak for themselves.
Exactly. It's about living out the gospel in such a way that it draws others to Christ.
Yeah. And just kind of reflecting that.
Yes, reflecting His love.
Yeah, it's interesting because Friar Gabriel doesn't specifically mention the apostolate in this meditation.
No, he doesn't.
But it almost feels like it's kind of woven in there.
I agree. It's implicit in the call to holiness, in this desire for deeper intimacy with God. Because the more we are filled with His love, the more naturally it will overflow into our interactions with others.
It's that idea of you can't pour out what you haven't first received.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to the central theme of this deep dive, this invitation to sanctity. It's an invitation to a deeper relationship with God, a transformation of our hearts and minds, and ultimately a participation in His mission of love and redemption.
And Advent is a great time for that, with the focus on waiting, preparation.
It is.
It's the perfect time to embrace this invitation.
It is a time to make space for God's grace to work in us, to deepen our intimacy with Him, and to allow that love to overflow into the world.
So it's not just passively waiting.
No, it's an active waiting.
Right. We're preparing.
Exactly. And this is where that Carmelite perspective can offer some practical guidance. Remember Saint Teresa's Little Way?
Yes.
It's all about those small acts of love, offering up our daily tasks and encounters as gifts to God.
Yeah. which makes it feel a lot more achievable.
It does.
It's not about those grand gestures. It's about just those little things.
Exactly.
So, good stuff.
It is good stuff. And as we wrap up this second part of our deep dive into Father Gabriel's invitation to sanctity, what's one takeaway you'd want to leave our listener with?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think it's this. The invitation to sanctity is a constant call.
It is.
It's continually beckoning us to draw closer to the heart of God.
Absolutely. And as we continue to journey through Advent and beyond, let's remember that we are not alone.
Right.
God's grace is always available.
It is.
Empowering us to respond to his invitation.
Yeah. So, as we reflect on the second week of Advent, maybe a good question to ask ourselves is, what does it mean for me to say yes to this invitation today?
That's a good one.
How can I make space for God?
Yes. In my life, in my heart.
How can I deepen that intimacy with him?
Wonderful questions to ponder. And as we move into this next week of Advent, we'll continue to explore Father Gabriel's meditation, delving deeper into the mystery of the Incarnation and how it illuminates our understanding of holiness, intimacy, and, yes, even the apostolate.
It really does feel like everything is pointing towards that incredible mystery, the Incarnation.
It is the heart of it all.
It really feels like everything is pointing toward that incredible mystery, the Incarnation.
It is the heart of it all.
Yeah, we've been exploring these really deep concepts.
Right, like sin and redemption, grace and holiness.
Yeah. And especially this call to intimacy with God.
Definitely a central theme.
But it's like, intellectually, I get the connection to the Incarnation. Emotionally, I'm still struggling. How do we go from these abstract ideas to baby Jesus in a manger? What does that have to do with me becoming holy?
It is a question many ponder. But think about it this way. The Incarnation is the ultimate act of God's love for humanity.
Okay.
It's the moment when that divine word, the second person of the Trinity, takes on human flesh and enters our world.
Right, the Word made flesh like we hear about in John's Gospel.
Exactly.
But still, how does that help me on my journey towards holiness?
Well, here's where it gets fascinating. The Incarnation isn't just a historical event. It's an ongoing reality. God's desire for intimacy, for dwelling within us, that's made manifest in the most tangible way through the Incarnation.
So are you saying that by God becoming human, it makes it possible for us to become more divine?
Precisely. And that's the heart of the invitation to sanctity.
Wow.
We are called to participate in this divine exchange, allowing God's grace to transform us from within, making us more and more like Christ.
That's mind-blowing when you think about it like that.
It is a profound mystery.
It makes Advent preparation so much more than just like decorating and shopping,
It's about preparing our hearts.
Yeah, to receive the one who wants to actually live in us.
Exactly. And that preparation involves everything we've been discussing. Recognizing our need for redemption, embracing that universal call to holiness, responding to God's love with sorrow for our sins, and a deep longing for transformation.
It's an active waiting, not a passive one.
Absolutely. It is. And this is where that Carmelite perspective can offer some really practical guidance. Remember St. Teresa's little way? Oh, yeah, the little things.
Yes. It's all about those small acts of love, offering up our daily tasks, encounters as gifts to God.
That makes it feel so much less overwhelming.
It does, because holiness isn't about grand gestures. It's about infusing our ordinary lives with love and intentionality.
And that's how we make space for the Christ child.
That's how we make space within ourselves, by cultivating that spirit of humility, surrender, attentiveness to his presence.
In every moment.
Yes, exactly.
Well, as we're wrapping up this deep dive into Father Gabriel's invitation to sanctity, I have to ask, what's that one thing you'd want our listeners to really hold on to?
I think it's this. The Incarnation isn't just a past event we're remembering. It's an ongoing invitation to intimacy with God. And our response to that invitation, our striving for holiness, that allows that intimacy to deepen, to bear fruit in our lives.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
So as we go about our day-to-day, maybe we can just take a moment, ask ourselves, how is God inviting me into a deeper intimacy right now?
Yes.
What little act of love can I offer back? Wonderful questions to carry with us.
They are. And as we continue through the rest of Advent and beyond, let's not forget, we're not alone in this.
We are not.
God's grace is always there.
Always empowering us to respond to his invitation.
And to become who he created us to be.
That's the beauty of it all.
It is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Invitation to Sanctity. May your Advent be filled with that joyful anticipation as we prepare our hearts for the one who desires to make his home within us.
Amen.
Thank you for spending this time with us today, reflecting on the wisdom of the Carmelite saints. I hope these words have inspired and uplifted you. Until next time, may God bless us and keep us close to his heart. Take care and see you soon.